I still can't believe we can use that theme song.
That's crazy.
Hey, welcome back to the CUP Ringside, where you get the best seats in the house for all things wrestling. And welcome to Who's Next, bringing you the real and the tea of NXT. There we go. That's gonna be my brand now. There we go. What an intro. That's the best intro on the CUP Ringside. I'm Lewis. I am here to talk about what's been a very fun episode of NXT and probably my favorite title change in NXT recently. I'm not drinking anything. I'll probably start drinking something at some point. But yeah, very excited to delve into this episode of NXT.
Yes, sir. And I'm Donovan, and this has probably been my favorite episode of NXT that I've seen.
Oh damn. Well, let's get into it because it is spring breaking. I I don't usually like these like special editions of NXT where
Yeah.
it's not like a pay-per-view or a PLE unit. It's just
Uh-huh.
a weekly episode, but like they give it a fun twist. But
Yeah.
last night it was last night. Yeah, last night's episode wasn't too bad.
Yeah. I was gonna say it felt weird being a themed event still on the PC, but it worked.
It worked. It did. We have a lot to cover because there was a lot of matches. Two title matches. One to start off the show, one to end the show. And let's get into it. But before we do that, if you want to subscribe and give us a thumbs up down below, if you want to get more wrestling content, we're going to be talking about NXT here. We have Lana and Amy on laying the SmackDown. On Saturdays, I believe they cover SmackDown. They're going to be discussing the upcoming draft on laying the SmackDown. Very excited for that. And then on Tuesdays
Tuesdays.
is the Raw take,
Yeah.
where Wes and Brooke are going to be discussing the Raw half of the draft next week. And we also did a fantasy draft that's going to be coming out
Ooh.
tomorrow. I covered me and Donovan for the NXT brand. I think Donovan's going to probably watch it back and have some thoughts on the people that we scooped up for the gold brand. But also, if you're a fan of Eurovision Song Contest, we have the Cup ESC. So go subscribe to the Cup ESC if you're a fan of Eurovision. We cover Eurovision over there. I'll be over there. I'm going to be at Eurovision, so that'll be a fun thing to talk about. We also have the Cup TV. If you're a fan of all things reality TV, go over to the Cup TV and subscribe to that channel. Or if you're a fan of everything drag, I believe there's a Drag Race All Stars coming up. They're going to start talking about that over on the Cup Pod, so go subscribe there if that's your thing. But yeah, let's get into this episode of NXT Spring Breakin' Week 1. This is a 2-week thing. So week 1 of Spring Breakin'. So we started the show actually backstage, and it was Adam Pearce, Nick Aldis on the TV screen via satellite, discussing the draft. They mentioned that Nick and Adam both mentioned that they were paying close attention to the main event of the night between Ilya, the reigning, at the time, reigning champion of NXT, and Trick Williams. And then Ava was like, that's all great, well and good, but what I'm interested to see is who, after the draft, rises up to become the next stars of NXT. So I'm very intrigued to see who lands where. We could definitely consider, because they did hint at that there's going to be some involvement from the people in the main event going to main brand. I think it's safe to say Ilya is moving on.
Yeah.
Definitely. He's gone.
Yeah.
Who else do you think has a shot at getting called up?
Well, it's obvious, but Braun Breaker, he's getting called up. They all but confirmed it on tonight's episode. I believe Carmelo Hayes is getting called up.
Absolutely.
And I think Roxanne Perez is going to get called up.
It's interesting because we're going to talk about it now. She still holds a bit of gold around her waist. So if she does get called up, that'll be an interesting move. Maybe pulling double duty between NXT. And I mean, it's happened before.
It has happened before.
Yes, absolutely. Right. Speaking of Roxanne, we got our first match of the night, the NXT Women's Championship match. And it's a triple threat between Roxanne Perez, Lyra Valkyria, the ex-champion, and Tatum Paxley. I had one qualm about this to begin with. We didn't get no entrances, and I hated that.
I thought that was weird too. I'm like, for a title match, no entrances, you're just gonna start them in the ring.
Yeah, that was weird.
That was kind of strange.
Very bizarre. But yeah, I thought it was a very fun match from start to finish. I think we got to see a lot of all three women equally, but I was very, very entertained by Tatum Paxley personally. I think Tatum benefited the most from this match.
Yes.
Because we haven't had an opportunity to see her in a title picture as of yet. So it was nice to see her in that mix. What did you think of this match?
I thought it was a great first match. When I saw that this was the first match of the night, I was pleasantly surprised. I was like, okay, that's good. You got a title match to start. They're going to have a title match to end, a good match to get the crowd hyped up.
Absolutely.
Like you said, it showcased all three women's offensive arsenal.
And I think it makes sense the way that it ended, in the way it was it felt very like cheap by Roxanne, kind of like one of those roll-up kind of situations, or and I liked the way they incorporated, because we've seen roll-ups, but I think that was a unique spin on because the way that it went from one pin to another, but like involving two different people.
That was crazy. That
Absolutely.
was a beautiful 450 splash by Tatum.
Oh yes, Tatum with 450.
That 450 was beautiful. And to set it up, have Roxanne slide and take Tatum completely off of the pin into a pin. I like the way that match ended.
Because I don't think I get to see many women, not just in NXT, but overall in WWE, hitting the 450. I know Bianca can do it. Bianca can absolutely nail a 450. But that was nice to see someone else hit a 450 but also do it in her own way, in her own fashion. I think I wouldn't be surprised if Lyra gets called up. I think it's difficult. I don't think she's fully blossomed. That's just my personal opinion. I don't think she's fully blossomed, but I wouldn't be surprised if they called her up for the sake of calling people up. But also because the main roster needs more women.
We gotta wait to see what the draft looks like, which brand gets the bulk of the not divas. I'm so sorry.
Not this. It's 2015 all over again.
Oh my gosh. The bulk of the women's division, because you know how these drafts go. I doubt that they split the division down the middle. One division is going to be lacking. So,
because I know our good friend Brooke has been campaigning because we're getting the Women's North American Championship over in NXT. Brooke really wants mid-card titles for the women on the main roster, and I completely agree. But I feel like they need to build up more of a women's roster.
Yes.
but also B, utilize the fucking women
Yeah.
because they're not doing that on the main roster right now. NXT has been absolutely incredible at doing that. So yeah, in the end of that match, Roxanne walks out as still NXT Women's Champion. I'll be interested to see where this goes. As I say, I wouldn't be surprised if Lyra gets caught up, but I feel like there's still developing story between Lyra and Tatum. Off the back of this. It'll be interesting to see who will be the next to challenge Roxanne.
Yeah.
So, throughout this NXT Spring Breakin episode, we have a lot of vignettes, different main roster superstars making their predictions for the main event between Ilya and Trick. I think one of my favorites was the A-Town Down Under, where they both thought they were on the same page and they both said different names. So yeah, but also not only do we see that through the socials and through the vignettes, but we do have people who make appearances later on in the night, and we'll get there. But we now move on to, it was a bit of a segment backstage where it was Thea Hale, Fallon Henley, there was someone else there. They were talking, and then Fallon was like checking to see if Thea had sorted her stuff out with Andre Chase. Thea was like, "We've talked. Everything's pretty much above ground. We're good now, pretty much." And then Jada Parker is sitting behind them. This is in the women's locker room, right? So, and Jada's just sitting behind them and interrupts their conversation. Calls Fallon Henley and I quote, the most popular loner I've ever seen in my life. Also, and then like some sort of fight and like breaks out between them. I found it random.
Yeah.
I found it a bit random. It felt like, okay, Jada's a heel, so she's just gonna start a fight. It didn't really have much behind it. It's not like Fallon did anything to her. But then again, sometimes heels just do shit for the sake of doing stuff. So yeah, it was a bit of a. It wasn't a great segment. It was just women fighting backstage. And sometimes that just happens. And I've seen that a lot of times in different backstage segments on WWE. And it feels like an original, like come up with something new. I don't know.
Yeah, it's their go-to way to get an impromptu match on the show. I mean,
exactly.
But
God.
We'll talk about the match later. But yeah, heels being heels.
Heels being heels. Which, hey, I'm a fan of Jada Parker.
Yes,
absolutely.
You may be a fan tonight. I'll say that.
Yes, absolutely. Right, and then one of my favorite things that happens quite a lot on NXT, especially around this kind of season, is different vignettes for different people who are coming up from NXT Level Up, the NXT. So if NXT is the developmental brand, then NXT Level Up is like the developmental. So we got this new tag team that's going to make a debut. I think their names are Tyson DuPont and Tyreek Igwe. I liked this vignette. Because it showed a lot about who they are, and we got to a sense of character. And we've seen recently there's been a lot of vignettes for different people who are debuting. Not too long ago, it was Javon Evans. Making that. And talk about someone who's made a lasting impact as soon as they walk through the door. Literally, second match, your second match on TV and you get an NXT championship match. That's incredible.
Like I was telling Lana last week on the show, his first match, I was like, "Who is this?" He made me a fan on his first night in the company. For him to be so young, but you could tell he's he's raw in the ring,
Mm-hmm.
but you can tell the potential is there. And
Absolutely. And
yeah,
he knows who he is. Like he's like a lot of times I see people debut on NXT, and it's like it feels like they've got something that's been forced on them, or
yeah,
like they're doing something that they don't want to be doing. Javon is like they know Javon's brand. They know who he is.
yeah.
So props to creative because Javon is, and I think he's also got an indie background, which doesn't surprise me. So yeah, I'm excited to see what happens with him. We didn't get him on this week. We'll probably get him in next week, in
Yeah,
some sort of fashion. Um, right, and then we get different appearances sporadically through the night. So we started with Diamond Mine. We had the Creed brothers and Ivy Nile coming in to do an interview to talk about their predictions for the match. I can't remember which Creed brother it was, but one of the Creed brothers started doing the Booker T, like the what tricks, like. um,
and Booker T said he gonna sue him.
Absolutely.
Booker T had me rolling tonight.
Listen, he better. I mean, if he's gonna sue, he's probably suing a lot of people. So because I know Wade Barrett did it at one point.
He's got to
And
sue me there because I know I'll be doing it.
listen, it's catchy. It's everyone like hooks onto it. Like I think Booker T has done a lot. Trick is incredible on his own. Don't get
Yeah,
me wrong.
yeah.
But Booker T has absolutely done a lot to elevate um, Trick Williams's popularity.
His aura, if you will.
His aura, yes, that's the word. Absolutely.
His aura was already crazy, but Booker T doing his ad libs, giving him that sign of approval, so to speak, it's like, yeah, he the real deal.
Hey, and that means a lot from Booker T. That's a five-time world champion and two-time Hall of Famer.
The top
No
Hall of
less.
Famer.
Yes, absolutely. Hey, I met him last year. Yeah, I did. Yeah, he's incredible. Moving on. All right. So the next match we have on the card, we had a 6-man tag team match. We had the D'Angelo family, so Tony D'Angelo, Channing Stacks Lorenzo, and the third one.
You did better than me. All I know is Tony D'Angelo. You did better than me.
All I know is that third one is some sort of like lawyer or like money person. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then we had the no catch quarter crew. So we had Charlie Dempsey, Damon Kemp, and the third one.
I don't know any of them. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know any of them.
I promise we do watch the product.
We watch NXT. I promise you, we watch.
We do absolutely. We it's just. I mean, that's something like we have these people that have been thrown in these tag teams, which great for them because they're doing a lot more than what they were doing before they were added to these factions. But B, we don't really know these people. They haven't had a chance to properly shine on their own.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's something. This storyline I've been struggling to follow a little bit. I know there's something to do with no catch not paying Tony D some sort of money or some sort of, I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, it's. I mean, like, yeah, it's. I'm confused, so to speak. I don't understand why they're not paying up when the family did something to help
Right. Yeah.
them.
So, I mean, this was a good match.
Yeah.
I liked a lot of like. It felt like No Catch was doing a lot of like separation in terms of like whenever D'Angelo family tried to go for the tag, they'd pull them back or keep them in the corner, and there was a lot of transitioning between No Catch Quarter Crew, like when they were constantly tagging in and tagging out.
Yeah.
But there's just something about the D'Angelo family. I'm telling you, like I don't know if they're gonna get called up, but I wouldn't be upset. Like
Yeah.
the Angelo family would be an incredible get for the main roster. But this kind of rivalry kind of teases that there's going to be some sort of match set up in the near future where Tony D or the D'Angelo family as a whole, because apparently you can become Heritage Cup champion as a group. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a match for the Heritage Cup where it's one of the Tony D's or the D'Angelos going for the No Catch Quarter Crews Heritage Cup, which would be a good match. I don't like the idea of having 4 representatives as the same champion.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, it just goes back to like the Laker when they were both champion.
I ain't heard that name in so long.
I know it's been a while, but I remember that one time where they like tore the belt apart, and then decided, oh, we're both champion. I did not like that when they did that. I don't like the Heritage Cup being shared. I don't know. Yeah, what did you think of that match?
It was a good match. It really highlighted the D'Angelo family's strength in the match, their brute strength, they want to slow the pace of the match down. They want to beat you up.
Yeah.
And no quarter catch crew, like you said, they're quick in and out, trying to isolate one person. A lot of tags. It was a good match.
It was a good match, absolutely. Apparently, the third D'Angelo family's name is Luca. Luca something. I don't know what his surname is, but his first name is Luca. Great. Right. We are gonna move on. Yeah, this was an interesting segment. So we have Baron Corbin backstage next, and he's doing something for the socials. Like he's being told what he's going to be interviewed about. So there's like a cameraman there, and then all of a sudden, Lexis King comes back, and he's talking about how like so basically he walks up to him and says, from one king to another, well, a fake one. Like he called him a pretender, like a fake king, and then he said he heard that Corbin was leaving NXT, and then he gave him a gift basket, and then Corbin was like, "Well, I'm not leaving. I don't know who told you I was leaving." And then King, like Lexis King, left. And then Corbin at the end, I loved this. He says, "He's a tool." Corbin goes, "He's a tool, and his beard isn't even real." Like, I feel like Lexis King has kind of been. I don't want to say overhyped. Like there was so much hype for him leading up to his debut, and then he's kind of lost in the shuffle a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see they are trying different things with him. Like they are giving him TV time, but it just never works. It never lands. But hey, again, you got to set matches up in the same way they did with Jada versus Fallon. They did the same with Baron and Lexis King here. Yeah, I mean, did you care much for this segment?
I mean, not really. I will say I'm surprised that Baron Corbin isn't going back up to the main roster with Braun Breaker. I kind of assumed that they were going to go up as the Wolf Dogs and then have them split up and go into their own one-on-one feud at some point.
Yeah,
But hearing that Baron is staying, I mean, I'm indifferent about it. It's like, cool.
cool.
Let's see what they do.
I will say I care a lot more for Baron since he got back to NXT because they've
Yeah.
repackaged him, and his repackage has been absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
I don't mind him staying in NXT. I fear that when he goes back to the main roster, they're gonna lose him again. Like,
I can see that.
yeah. So if he is staying in NXT a bit longer, I don't mind that. Having said that, there's different people fronting the main roster right now, so maybe they're gonna let him keep what he's doing in NXT. Who knows?
Yeah.
Right, and finally we get back to the Jada Parker versus Fallon Henley. This time, the match actually happens. Yeah, it was a good match. It just felt a lot of it felt like it was just there to be a filler, like to fill time. But I didn't mind it because it gave Fallon and Jada a platform. I feel like Fallon's kind of been a bit lost recently.
Mm-hmm.
Like what she offered to what she had with when she was the valet for Brooks and Jensen. She was good there, but I feel like ever since that whole faction split off, it felt like they didn't have much direction for Fallon Henley.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of Jada Parker. I've been a big fan of her since I saw her debut on the NXT scene. I'm a fan of NXT pairing her up with OTM, that faction. I think that faction absolutely works for her. Yeah. What did you think of the match?
I said it was a decent match. I mean, Jada Parker she showed out and made me a fan today,
and
made me want to see her. And they need to do something with OTM moving forward.
Absolutely,
because I know we haven't really seen them on TV much as a faction.
right?
We've seen like Jada by herself, Scripps by himself, but they haven't really done anything with the faction of OTM.
Absolutely,
and even Booker T, on commentary, they were making a point about it, saying she need to be worried about the rest of her members. And Booker T was like, no, she need to be worried about herself. But she does. The fact that they're saying it on commentary should let them know that they're not using them adequately on TV, and they need to do something with that. But yeah, Jada Parker, she made me a fan, and it was a decent, okay match.
Yeah, the OTM is interesting because when they came in, they were like pushed heavily. They were promoted right up to right up to the the tag title picture. When it was back when the D'Angelos had the tag titles.
Yeah, well, I remember when me and Lana, we went to Vengeance Day, and we saw them fight. We saw OTM face the family for the tag titles, and it's like ever since we went and saw them, I haven't seen them on TV in a minute.
Exactly, yeah. So yeah, I mean, who's the tag champs right now? Oh, okay, Axiom and Fraser.
Yeah,
I don't mind them go challenging Axiom and Fraser. Which we'll get to them because there's something happening with them next week. So yeah, good match. And hey, I loved the end where Jada's like extensions were falling off, and she
just said
she was like, nope, I don't need no extensions.
I don't need them no more. That had me laughing. I was laughing.
Right. This next again, another vignette. There was a lot of vignettes and a lot of segments.
A lot A
a
lot
lot
of
of
vignettes.
TV fillers of vignettes and stuff. We have JC Jane in this next vignette talking about Thea Hale, talking about how Thea is ungrateful, how she should be like kissing the ground that JC walks on. Um, I mean, a lot of stuff about how JC did so much for Thea and Thea is not doing anything in return. Um, I, I'm a fan. Okay, I'm a fan of JC Jane. I feel like her character's got a bit stale.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know what it is for me. I feel like absolutely, I cared a lot for heel JC. Back when they split Toxic Attraction up, I enjoyed that change of character for JC. But it feels like maybe it's I don't know what it is. I I'm not as entertained by it as much as I was back then.
uh, yeah, I like JCJ. Like you said, a lot of promo, a lot of vignettes today.
Mhm.
I don't really know how I feel too much about this, but I was telling Lana last week, or I don't remember if I said this or not. I feel like that's a lot of dull characters in NXT. It's
Mm.
uh, like the top stars in NXT, they have characters that stand out. But besides that, I kind of feel in a way it's a lot of people's characters merging together and then just like
Yeah, yeah, I
yeah,
agree. Yeah, that's probably what it is. It's because like what I'm seeing in JC is like something that not something I haven't seen. Like J JC, I feel like a lot of her character could also be seen in someone like a like a Cora Jade or like a Roxanne. I
yeah,
don't know,
yeah,
like that kind of like it feels like with the heel women, there's not much of a
yeah,
individual something I can say about this that I can't say about this person.
yeah.
Um,
Not a differentiator.
exactly. But hey, this JC versus Thea stuff is leading to next week. We'll talk about what's going on next week, but we are going to see JC Jane take on Thea Hale one on one. So it'll be
Yep.
interesting to see what happens off the back of that. Um, we're going from one vignette to another because when we come back from the commercials, we come back and it's Lola Weiss talking about Natalia. I think I remember her specifically pointing out Natalia's touring schedule and
Hmm.
talking about how Natalia's always on the road, blah blah blah, whereas she's like staying home, putting the craft in. So says like Natalia thinks she can have a rigorous tour and then come back to NXT to beat her, but Natalia has another thing coming, and
Yeah.
um, Lola says she's going to become a legend at Natalia's expense. I'm a fan of Lola's.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like it's interesting. Like it's Lola is a character. I think whilst you can see some trace of Lola in other people, still feels a
Hmm.
lot more original than
Yeah. Then
yeah,
Lacey Jane
exactly.
to an extent. Yeah.
Yeah,
I l- I like Lola's her character development. I guess you could say right
yeah,
now, and her feud with Natty is to me kind of because like I don't see what's they're feuding about. It's
yeah. I agree there. it does feel a bit. Oh,
Like, okay,
okay, okay. I guess that's a thing. Yeah, sure. And hey, they're going to NXT Underground, which
I
okay.
I don't know what that means, but okay, I'll see
I
you
think
next week.
I mean I think it calls back to that whole Raw Underground thing,
Yeah,
which was terrible,
terrible. I
terrible. I
hope.
don't know why they made that a
Yeah,
thing.
and I was
Um,
saying last week, I don't know what NXT Underground is, so I I guess I'm interested to see what that entails. But other than that, like, okay, this I guess y'all gonna fight, but I don't. I'm not as interested as I am other things going on in NXT at the moment.
So this leads to the contract signing. But before the contract signing, JD McDonough appears and predicts the match. Anyway, moving on. So so we have contract signing. We have Natalia there with, oh gosh, what's her name?
I can't think of her name
Petrovic.
either.
I know her surname's Petrovic. Someone Petrovic. Petrovic. So Petrovic is there. and Natalia's like, okay, so we've signed the contract. Lola signed the contract. And then Natalia's like, so who's going to be in your corner? Because I've got Petrovic. Carmen Petrovic. There we go. Carmen Petrovic. Who's going to be in your corner? And then Lola's like, well, don't worry about who's going to be in my corner. Lola says that Natty can try, but when the lights dim, so I like when they're in the underground, Natty's fate will be in her hands. So Lola's a lot like this is my environment, this is my yard, NXT Underground is my stomping grounds, and then Natty's like, well, I come from the Heart Dungeon,
Huh.
and the Heart Dungeon is
I like that line. That
yeah,
was like she was. That was a little flex. That was a flex.
exactly.
Man, I'm from that family. I came from that tree.
Mm-hmm.
Like you
And
can
I've heard horror stories about the Heart Dungeon.
exactly.
So, um, yeah, I mean, it makes sense having Natty in that environment. Given it, I mean, I thought Natty being in an NXT Underground match was kind of random, and now that she brought up the whole Heart Dungeon, maybe it's not
Yeah,
so random.
yeah,
That is a very like hard hitting kind of environment to
yeah.
be in and stuff, and you need to be ready to go
You
to the
got to
Heart
be
Dungeon.
tough to come through
You got
that.
to be tough, absolutely. But hey, if you want tough,
Huh.
guess who's Lola Vice's um person who's going to be at the side of her, like who's going to be her mentor? Shayna Baszler is going to be her mentor.
Yes,
And Natty's face when she finds out that Shayna is coming out, Natty is fuming. These
she
two,
look.
yeah, like she looked absolutely like these two have history. Natty and Shayna, I believe, did they win the belts together?
I can't. I want to
Yes.
say yes. I want to say yes.
Lana, we have Lana backstage. If you and Lana's giving us a thumbs up. So yes, they did win the belts together, Natty and Shayna. So there is history there. It's interesting that Shayna is now helping Lola against her former partner. What did you make of that?
I thought it was cool, and I hope this is saying that Shayna's coming back down to NXT because I wanted her to come back down to NXT because the we haven't. I don't see her as a top star on the main roster right now, so
Mhm.
she can come back down to NXT, gain some traction again as the monster she was.
Yes, I feel like that's what we've lost.
But
The
yeah,
monstrous Shayna that everyone fears going up against.
yeah,
We haven't seen that since. Honestly, I don't think we've seen the same Shayna ever since she moved up to the main roster. because I liked a lot of what she did in the ring. It feels like we've lost that kind of stuff, that kind of stuff. Like she's still that like MMA kind of girl, but I liked what she did in NXT. There was a lot of joint manipulation, kind of. You watched what she did in NXT, and it was kind of cringeworthy watching how she manipulated.
It made you think she was in the UFC again.
Exactly.
And I had ever since she had that MMA rules match with Ronda, I was turned off from Shayna. I was like, yeah, they didn't mess her whole character up. That match was just terrible.
That match was terrible. Nobody was there for it. The fans were like, fucking. They were chanting for like the match to end, and like to change the channel, and this stuff. And
I was relieved to see that Shayna came out as Lola Vice's corner person, and I hope this means that she's coming back down more regularly so we can get old Shayna back.
I will say though, the end of this segment made Shayna look a little weak.
Yeah.
Because at the end, Shayna shoves Carmen Petrovic. Carmen just kicks Shayna.
Yeah.
Shayna just falls to the mat completely, almost like knocked out kind of thing. I did not like that. I get trying to make Carmen look legitimate and make her look tough, but Shayna's just made a return, and you're just gonna make her look weak like that. God, I don't know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing Shayna versus Carmen.
Yeah.
Right. So we move on now to the beach brawl. The beach brawl between Blair Davenport and Sol Ruka. I was very hesitant coming into this match. I thought it was a bit too gimmicky for my liking.
Yeah.
Too clownish, I don't know. But I quite enjoyed this match.
I enjoyed it too. It was, to me, it was enough hardcore to not, but like, of course you had your gimmick, you bounce a beach ball off somebody's head, but it wasn't, oh, that's all this match is about. It was a lot of, like, with the kickboard when Sol Ruka did her finisher with the board. It looked like that legit hurt. Like, it was, a gimmick match, like a beach brawl, spring break. Of course, they had the beach.
Yeah.
But
and then it played into Sol's character a bit.
Yeah. It wasn't, okay, let's find the corniest beach gimmick we can, throw it, give it to him. But I was quite entertained with this match.
Yes,
when I saw her throw the beach ball, I just started laughing. I bust out laughing.
I had a few moments that I enjoyed about this match. First one was the like, gosh, what's your name that move? But like, where it's like, I can't remember the name of the move, but like when Sol got Blair in the ball pit the first time she did that. It was a move that X-Pac used to hit all the time. I can't remember the name of the move though. Like they split the legs and then anyway.
Yeah.
And then I liked the moment where Sol decides to surf on top of Blair. Just start surfing on top of Blair and then jump on top of the surfboard. And then there was at one point where Sol tried to hit that cartwheel move that she always does when she was climbing the barricade, and then Blair knocks her off the barricade, and the people on the front row were terrified because they thought Sol Ruka was about to fall on top of them. No, this was a very fun match. I will say
it was a good match.
I will say Blair needs something different now.
Yeah.
I think Blair Davenport. It's weird. I enjoyed Blair's gimmick to begin with, but it feels like we've got elements of that in different people now.
Mm-hmm.
Like your Tatum pack. Okay, Tatum's different, but also has elements of that. Lyra Valkyria also has a witchy kind of vibe. I think Blair is due a change of some sort.
Yeah.
Sol Ruka, I think, is a good candidate for NXT Women's contendership. I wouldn't mind seeing Sol Ruka versus Roxanne in the near future.
Yeah.
But yeah, a very fun match. Absolutely.
Yeah. Definitely had me entertained.
Probably the safest hardcore match.
Exactly.
Because all the boards are made of styrofoam.
Yeah.
But it also felt more extreme than the street fight at the Mania weekend between the Street Profits and the.
Yeah. I will say when Blair hit Sol Ruka with the surfboard looking thing, it looked like it could possibly hurt. Now I know it didn't hurt because it's made of styrofoam, but
hey, if you get enough force on it.
Exactly.
Right. Next up we have Lexis King versus Baron Corbin. Unfortunately, this is probably my least favorite match of the night. Maybe because it didn't get much time. It felt like it only had like 2 minutes in it. It felt random the way it was set up. It was just set up to get Lexis and Baron on the card. There wasn't much going for it. But hey, Lexis King got a W, which I don't think I've seen that at least for a while. I might be wrong. But hey, if we're starting to add up Lex's win column, then I'm here for it. Please just give it a lot more. I don't know. Like I feel like Lexis's character needs more going for it in terms of like it needs more build. Like I feel like Lexis's character is very surface level right now.
Yeah, and he got the W, but did he really? He got caught trying to cheat with his feet on the ropes.
Yeah,
then he had to resort to a low blow to win the match. So he got the W, but yeah, like you said, he needs some major character development. And
yeah, exactly.
When he was talking backstage to Baron Corbin, it just talking about he needs Baron Corbin gonna hit yourself to the next rising star. I was like, how are you the rising star, next rising star, and I don't even know who you are for real like that.
Right. we don't see enough of you, Lexus, so you're not in no position to be talking about this. Yeah. I mean, again, different. It was an okay match. It just maybe it was because it was too short, and we didn't get much going in it. It felt very filler. It felt very last minute because there wasn't a lot of spots apart from Lexus just being a cheat or trying to be a cheat. So yeah. Right. And then we're coming up to the main event. So there's different things happening in the lead up to this main event. We've got Ilya walking out, and then Damian Priest pulls him up as he starts walking out, and he's like, "Good luck, champ." I liked that. It was interesting because we were like, "What's he going to say?" Because we don't know what direction Priest is going in right now. Because there's a lot of animosity between it. I'm talking about a different show altogether. So there's different like we're talking about. So Damian's got a lot of animosity building within the Judgment Day. So seeing him wishing good luck to Ilya Dragunov, who is still kind of face, and it is still, it's an interesting thing. It's like, oh, Damien has got a heart and he is respectful. um, and then we got different people. Prior to this, we had Johnny. Okay, before this, we had Johnny Gargano backstage with Trick, and he's giving Trick the pep talk, and I enjoyed that. That was like I need Johnny.
That.
I need Johnny Gargano to give me a pep talk every morning. Like, I promise, if Johnny Gargano told me, like, gave me that kind of pep talk, I would never have a bad day. Never.
He did a good job of hyping up Trick for the match, hyping up the crowd. He had me hyped up for the match.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we have everyone at ringside. So we have New Catch Republic come to ringside with Johnny Gargano. And then we have the Diamond Mine taking their seats on the other side of the arena. So it felt very big fight feel, the way that like, all these main established rostered stars are coming to watch this match. And we have this fun thing. Oh, I enjoy the little things. They've been experimenting a lot with the cameras.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the way we followed Trick walking from backstage into the arena. It felt like this was a big fight in the same way that we see in UFC and the boxing. They're followed from the backstage into the main arena. And then we get to the match itself. And I mean, there's big consequences in play here. If Trick loses this NXT title match, he has to leave NXT.
Yeah.
Which in WWE terms is not that bad, because it also just means, oh, you're available for the main roster.
Exactly.
So like we can read through plugins, like it doesn't matter too much if you lose a match where you have to leave NXT. We saw it happen with Legado. And then oh god, insane match. The amount of false finishes. I feel like there was a good few false finishes in this match.
Yeah, it was a good
amount. It was a good amount. And it ended with a callback to the Vengeance Day match that they had, where they're both at either side of the corner, and Ilya lands the whatever he calls that move. And then Ilya won that one. We're doing the same thing where they're both at the two corners. But this time, Trick gets the better of him, gets the W. 1, 2, 3, your new NXT champion. Whoop that Trick. Trick Williams is now the face that runs the place in NXT. What did you... I loved this match.
I loved this match. That moment where they are face to face and then they embrace and hug and then start punching each other, almost like how Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn do with their chemistry. They just start punching each other. Trick pulling Ilya's moves out to try to beat him. This was a great match. Trick finally hitting his finisher, getting a 1, 2, 3. And Ilya handing him the belt, and you can see the emotion he had. Like, you deserve this. It's your time.
Absolutely. And I loved that we got that shot of like the camera on top of the stands, and it's shaking because many, like, all the audience is going crazy. The cameras are literally shaking.
Yeah.
You can see the emotion in not only in Trick and in Ilya, but in the NXT
universe, whole performance.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Incredible match. I think it's probably one of my favorite matches for the NXT Championship in a while. Gosh, I mean, it's probably been it's been a while. I think I loved the match where Ilya won it for the first time when he took it off Carmelo. But this probably tops it.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've had an NXT Championship match where I was like, okay, that's probably a top contender for my favorite NXT Championship matches.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
will say WWE, they're setting a trend with all these emotional builds to the championship. Tricks was almost Cody Rhodes esque. He lost the first time, kept losing to Ilya, and then finally got the pinfall victory. I'm interested to see, just like I'm interested to see about Cody Rhodes, where they go from winning the championship. Who's going to be Trick's first few
mm-hmm.
post winning the belt? Because I can see a lot of people, quite a few amount of people,
there's
challenging Trick for it.
there's a few. I would love to see that Trick versus Javon match. I think there's potential there for a banger.
Yeah, that would be
As
crazy.
Jameis would say, banger. Uh, I want to see what they do with the Ridge Holland Sean Spears pairing.
Yeah.
There's something happening there. I can't tell if they hate each other or they're trying to build each other up. I don't know what's going on. That's an interesting storyline. But I think that's gonna, if they promote that to a title picture, I wouldn't be upset about it. Dijak deserves a championship,
Yeah.
like main title picture kind of thing. Um, yeah, there's so many different, and if people start getting called, I was gonna say called down. Here at NXT, you don't get called down to NXT. You're just called to NXT. It's not like called down. This is
Yeah.
a third brand. I'm not going. So if there's someone that comes from the main roster to NXT to go into that title picture, I won't be too mad. We've got our fantasy draft tomorrow. There's someone who we have our eyes on that we want to pick number one. That if he gets promoted straight into that NXT picture, like title picture, I would love that rivalry.
Yeah.
And we know who we're talking about.
Yes.
But yeah, so we've got next week, week 2 of Spring Breakin, because it's a 2-week event.
Uh-huh.
If you thought Mania was long, Spring Breakin is much longer. We have the match between JC Jane and Thea Hale, as mentioned. We have the NXT Underground match between Natalia and Lola Vice, as we mentioned. We've also got the North American Championship on the line next week. Obafemi facing Ivar. What do you think of that, Obafemi Ivar?
I can't wait for that match. That match is gonna be a banger. Ivar, you got Ivar who's doing stuff a man his size shouldn't be doing. You got Obafemi who is just gonna beat on you and wear you down. That's gonna be. I'm ready for that match. That's gonna be crazy.
So I wasn't here. I don't think we covered Stand and Deliver. Yeah, we didn't get. We weren't a thing when Stand and Deliver.
No.
But like the Obafemi where he's carrying.
Yeah.
Who was it in that match? It was a triple threat. I remember that much. It was I think it was Dijak and
Was it Dijak and Ivar? No.
I think it was Dijak and Josh Briggs. I might be wrong. But anyway,
I
he's
can't
like
remember.
carrying both of them, not
Yeah.
not in the normal sense. Like it was like almost like a triple powerbomb setup kind of thing. And like I don't know, it was like the strength on Obafemi is absolutely insane. Ivar's been doing incredible stuff since he's done his solo stuff. So I'm very excited to see that big, as they say in the business, big meaty men slapping meat. So
Yeah, that's probably gonna be the match of the week. At least going into week 2 of Spring Breaking, that's definitely my match of the week for NXT.
Absolutely. And we also have the tag championships on the line.
Yeah,
Nathan Fraser and Axiom facing the Authors of Pain for the tag belts. That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
I think this will be the biggest challenge for Nathan and Axiom thus far since they won the titles.
Definitely.
So AOP, I wouldn't be mad if they won the belts off. I wouldn't be too mad.
I kind of see where that could be, where they're going,
Mm-hmm.
but Axum and Fraser, they got the belts not too long ago,
Yeah.
so I don't want to believe that they're just gonna take them off right now. But I can see a world where the Authors of Pain do end up becoming the tag champs again.
I think the results of the draft will be telling as to what direction
Yeah,
it's going to go. Because I feel like Axiom and Fraser would be huge gets for SmackDown or Raw. And I know Brooke is a huge fan of Axiom. So I wouldn't be surprised if Brooke made it. Oh no, we can't. No, they can't. She can't make a move for. She can't make a move for Fraser and Axiom. We keep the championship. We keep the champion. So we're good. Brooke can't make a move for Axiom. And I've just checked the chat, and we have our backstage producer Lana, who has corrected me on the move that Ruka move used, and it's the Bronco Buster. Oh god. Anyway, right. That was NXT Spring Breakin Week 1. Join us next week. We'll be talking about Week 2. Will Week 2 live up to Week 1? Will it excel Week 1? We'll see next week. But in the meantime, hit the subscribe button, thumbs up. Watch our other videos. We've done a lot of covering NXT, SmackDown, Raw. We've done a lot of we've done tier lists. We've done top 10. We've got so much content on the way. You do not want to miss a thing. So hit that subscribe button. And don't forget, if you're a fan of drag, go to the CUP Pod. We have drag race coverage over on there. We have the CUP TV, where we cover all things reality TV. The CUP ESC, where we're covering Eurovision Song Contest. And you can follow us on our socials down on below. Twitter, the CUP Pod, Lewis Thorpe X, that's me. And there's Donovan's link. And we also have a merch link, which I don't have merch currently because the creators are not selling internationally. But if you're in the US, if you are in Canada and Mexico, North America, we do have CUP merch, as shown by Lana. We sell mugs, we sell bottles, we sell socks, I believe. So that's anything. So if you want to support the channel, go and get your merch. Thank you all for watching. Have a good night, and we'll catch you.
See you next week.
See you next week. What that trick?
What
that trick?
Yeah.
What that trick?
What
that trick?
I like it.
That trick.